You said yes to God. You opened up the Google document. Heck, you may have even outlined a few chapters. But now, nothing. You are stuck, you are spiraling, and deep down, you know this isn't about the time. This is about the obedience. But here's the thing, you didn't get lazy, you got scared. And today we're going to talk about 3 spiritual reasons why you can't get back into gear and how we're going to overcome that. And listen, if you're a Christian writer that's ready to get unstuck, man, subscribe to this channel. This channel is about helping you get momentum and get moving. And how do I know what you're going through? Because I've gone through it. I am currently going through it. In fact, I have a whole first draft, 50,000+ words of a nonfiction Christian Bible study that I started and have yet to finish. Because while these 3 things might seem silly on the surface, man, they pack a punch. And so today we're going to unpack them together, not just for you, but also for me, so that we can get beyond that and get moving and get writing for God. Okay, the first thing, you're not going to be able to finish what you don't start. So you've got to get started. And I'm so guilty of this because for so long I had convinced myself that when the timing is right, or when I feel the inspiration come upon me, like that's when I'm going to sit down and write. But the truth of that is, it's not going to happen, right? If God's called you to write and you're waiting to write until the ideal set of circumstances knocks on your door, I've got bad news for you. You'll never start writing. You've got to overcome this idea, this expectation that things are going to be easy when God calls you to do the thing. If you look through the Bible, God calls Abraham, right, to come out of his land. He calls Moses to lead the people out of Israel. He calls David to become king. None of them had it easy. They all had to work and persevere in unideal set of circumstances. And so the same is going to be true for you. If you've been called, you just have to get to work no matter what is happening around you. And so the way that you overcome this is, 1, make a commitment right now. And this might seem corny. Write it down in your journal. I'm committing to writing for God. Write it out. Then 2, you're going to look at your calendar and you're going to find a time this week. Here's my big advice. Weeks change and fluctuate, right? I have been notorious for trying to find the perfect schedule. And in my brain, I have this expectation that when I come up with this perfect schedule, that's just how my life will be forever. That's not the way it works. And so each week on Sunday night, I want you to sit down at your calendar and I want you to find the 20 minutes, okay? 20 minutes, not 2 hours, not 4 hours, 20 minutes each day that you're going to commit to write and put it in your calendar. That is a time block that you are not going to change. That's your sacred time, your commitment to God here. And then the third thing is you're going to do it. And I know that sounds really silly, but when that time on your calendar comes, you're going to pick up your phone and set a timer for 20 minutes. And then you're going to get to writing. And you're not going to give yourself that expectation, right, that you're going to figure it all out in that 20-minute block. You're just going to sit down at your computer and you're just going to write. And listen, if you will do this consistently over time, this idea of not starting something is going to be a distant memory. Because listen, if you want to finish what God is calling you to write, the very first thing you've got to get over is knowing when to start. And the time to start is now. And look, this is exactly why I created that free writing sprint group, which I will talk more about later. But again, it provides that consistency throughout our week that we just need. All right, the second thing that's going to keep you from finishing what you need to start here is that you're stuck on step 15 instead of step 2. I love what Psalms says. In Psalms 119, verse 105, it says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." The truth is that sometimes when we're sitting down, especially doing something like this, we don't focus on the next step. We start thinking about step 15, like, how do I get something edited? Who's going to edit it? How am I going to get it published? Where can I find a literary agent? And so we start going down this path to try to figure out these future steps when we're right here on step 1, which is just right. And step 2 and step 3. And so what I would encourage you, again, as someone who has been and sometimes continues to be trapped in this sort of thinking, is You've got to stop worrying about step 15. You need to worry about step 2 because God's not obligated to show you the whole map. He's just going to show you the next mile marker. But listen, I get it because I also have been so paralyzed by the future that I haven't been faithful in the present. And so what I would encourage you, my sweet friend, is stop worrying about what's going to happen after you finish the first draft. Just finish the first draft. Stop worrying about, okay, what happens when you finish the second and the third and the fourth, right? Just sit down, one chapter, one sentence at a time, and get to work. You don't need to know the whole plan. You just need to know the next step. And listen, I really hope that my writing sprint group gives us the space to do that, to just focus on that next step. Because I don't know about you, but I have got to quiet the noise of not knowing what's going to come so I can just sit down and focus on step number 2. All right, the final thing that's keeping us from finishing the thing that we're supposed to be starting is we care way too much about other people's opinions about our writing than we do about being obedient to God. And of course, I'm going to go to Galatians here, Galatians 1:10, which says, am I trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? If I were still trying to please people, would not be a servant of Christ. Listen, this is the hardest one. And honestly, this is the one that still has my first draft of my nonfiction book sitting in Google Docs because I finished it. I randomly found an editor, and you guys, I know we're not focusing on step 15, but I am going to create a video that provides some resources on this because I have been way too trusting and passive in the past. Anyway, when the editor got the work, she edited a chapter and sent it back to me with notes, and I was so overwhelmed with the notes that I just stopped writing. I couldn't send it back to her. And that's been 2.5 years ago. And I'm going to say this, and I don't want this to come off in any kind of way. It wasn't because the writing wasn't good. And it wasn't because the message wasn't strong. It needed work. It absolutely needed work. Your first draft, your second draft, your third draft, it's going to be messy. It's going to need work. But I was so concerned about her, what I deemed was an opinion, right? And the fact that I got any critiques back meant that I was garbage, that I just stopped writing. And it wasn't just her. I've had so many people in my life provide, I don't even want to say feedback, but just comments that I have taken to heart. In fact, somebody very close to me for years whispered in my ear, "You never finish what you start." And I took that on as a mantra. And so what I would tell you is and this again is the step that I am still battling through. The first 2 you're going to be able to get through, but this is the one that you're going to have to continue to revisit. This is the one that you're going to have to continue to discipline yourself to overcome, because you're not going to be able to stop people's opinions. People have them, right? But you can stop how you respond to them. And in this moment, you have to ask yourself, I have to ask myself, am I doing this because I want applause from the world, or am I doing this to be obedient to God? So the way you overcome this, and again, you're going to have to overcome this sometimes every single day, is you're going to need to recommit to who you're writing for. You're not writing for the audience. You're not writing for the applause. You're writing for the one who created you, the one who put that message within you that he wants you to get out on paper. That's who you are writing for. So say this with me: God, I'm writing what you gave me, and I release the rest. And again, you don't have to do this alone. That's what I created the writing sprint groups for. It should be a space where we can be open and move as the Spirit leads without a need to impress others, because we are all just doing our best to be obedient to God's call. All right, so if you are ready to finish what you started, if you are tired of wanting to write but not actually writing, man, I would encourage you to join my writing sprint group. We meet Fridays starting this Friday, May 9th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We come together, we do a little bit of a devotional, then a 20-minute writing sprint. We do some digital high fives. We finish off with another 20-minute writing sprint, and then we make that commitment together for the rest of our week for writing. So it provides that safe space where we can share our calling without being worried about other people thinking that we're crazy. It also provides accountability to actually sit down and do the thing. And again, that encouragement, those digital high fives mean the world. Basically, I created a space, or I'm hoping to create a space that I wish I had when I got started. And listen, if this video hit something in you, man, I hope that you hit the subscribe button and don't forget to ring that bell. I put out new videos for Christian writers on Mondays, and then I put out my regular ministry videos on Thursday, and it is just a safe space for Christians to get together, encourage, and uplift one another. So I hope that you join me every Monday and every Thursday. All right, guys, you have waited long enough. Let's finish what God started. I'll see you next Monday.